massive system of what was going on. Mm-hmm. And it may not just be the KKK, it's a whole system of now constricting success, you know, hindering success of these people. And so that's what this piece is. And it's a jute, rope, weaving, and of course I work intuitively. So this piece, of course, I wanted it squared and, you know, nicely formed. But as I was weaving, for some reason this piece started getting tighter and tighter. And I thought of loosening it out for, you know, aesthetic reason, just wanting it to be square. But then I said, no, this is a constrictive period, so I need to just leave it and let it go. So that's why it's actually tightening as the trees are growing, and then, so it's kind of a tension going on there, so I had to leave it. And then the next piece is Prison, the New Slavery. And this piece, of course, I wanted to move from wood. I love texture. And then I said, prison is not soft, it's not warm, it is cold, it is harsh, and brutal. So the best material, I'm also an experimental materialist, I guess, who like to experiment with materials. So I figured, how can I do this? So I came up with nails. I was originally going to nail pieces into wood, and that would be a therapeutical thing for me, I guess, in trying to work through this emotion of prison and what it means and how it feels. And so I found roofing nails, and I knew that the prison system is basically an attack on the male figure. I know females are attacked as well by this system, but majority is the male figure. So it's actually a imprint of the male figure in the slavery. It's actually, I'm going over that image of that male figure in this material. And I like that I started it actually on the ground, and then I had to solve, how am I going to make this piece stand up like the walls? And so I tried several different options and came to this conclusion of building this form which mimics the walls, but also stands by itself as the prison bars, and then on the other side it looks as though it's a coffin that you can actually see through. So there's that, and then I thought about the plexiglass, which is, prison is not a place of privacy. So that seeing through and seeing the imagery actually works with that non-private aspect of it. And the jagged, I wanted the viewer to be able to, as it's supposed to be a lightly touch, not to force, but you could actually touch and feel the imprints of those nails, the jagged, to give you that sensory feeling of the piece. So that is this series. And of course I have the three female pieces that, these were part of a Keisha, which is another imprinting of African American coming up with those amazing names that they created, because we were not able to use our heritage names from Africa, or whatever tribes, whatever country, whatever community we were from. So African Americans started naming their children Keisha, and of course one of the most used ones was Keisha. And so this was a part of the Ritz this was actually the library in Jacksonville. So there was a exhibition of Keisha. And my interpretation of Keisha was my daughter. I thought of my generation of women in my family, even though we have Catholic names, European names, I still think it's not the name, it's really the embodiment of Keisha. So my daughter, Reva, who's here, this is my portrait of her. And of course, she's a lawyer, so in my head as I'm doing this was the whole justice issue with Black Lives Matter. So I figure that even though she's gonna be a lawyer,
Fantastic.
so I'm hoping that she's probably going to try and do something with her talents to advance the cause of justice reform. So that was my Keisha lawyer figure. And of course, my little one here, I always think this is a portrait of Savannah. So she has this, there's this Storm t-shirt she has, and I always see her as a fierce, her personality is very fierce, very bold, and she's quiet, but she stands up for herself. So this is her, this is my interpretation of her personality as Keisha. So that's Savannah. And of course I have the, there's the pieces of, this was after the election. During the election, my trying to get out what I was feeling with this whole Trump and how America is not America anymore. So it's the inscription of the Statue of Liberty, and I just thought I would rewrite it, but in the words of what it is we're turning into. I just have to express that in that piece.
Can you read that, that's on this picture?
Yeah.
The words?
Yeah.
Please.
So it's don't give me your tired, your poor, your horrid masses, your huddled masses, sorry, yearning to be free.
To breathe free.
Huh?
To breathe free.
Where am I?
Learning to
Breathe free.
Oh, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuge of your teeming shore. Don't send these